It's so much easier to lock in if you're a little bit more diligent and you're a little bit more kind of controlled of like just even the things that you're thinking about on a day-by-day basis. This is a little bit more of an active approach, but part of it is also going to be if I can maybe taking a little bit of a more objective look at even just who you're hanging around. You know, I've never really had to do that very much. I kind of just keep the grind up. But if you're always hanging out with like 5 dudes and none of them are grinding, none of them are locked in, what are the odds that you suddenly will be? You know, you're kind of going to match the environment that you're around. You know, not to just dog on somebody for not being jacked, but you know, not everybody is going to be particularly supportive of shit that you want to do, and you've got to kind of be able to have the balls to do what you want to do, regardless of that, right? You don't need everybody's fucking authorization, and you don't need everybody's approval to do some shit, you know. And odds are, you're kind of anybody that does anything cool gets a fucking crazy amount of backlash. You know, name one notable person in any field, in anything, where they're literally a top dog. Name one person who gets like 0 random backlash, especially online. You know, so that's where you got to be a little bit more fucking tough. And if you have a if you got a clear view, if you have a clear image of something that you want to achieve, and you know that it's going to be cool, in what world do you need to listen to anybody else tell you like, nah, don't do that, that's stupid. Nah, why are you doing that, man? Right? And this is a little bit dicey, a little bit divisive to say, but dude, a classic fucking example, man, it's the fucking drinking, dog. If you got a crew of dudes every weekend on the regular, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're out, they're slamming, dude, I'm talking blackout drunk. Now, I'm not saying everybody does that, of course, but for the guys that do, you know, for the friend group, or what I'm saying, for like the cliques that go and do that, if you, how many times are you going to be able to hear, like, dude, why aren't you drinking, bro? What the fuck? Why aren't you drink? How many times do you want to really be around an environment where all your buddies are telling that to you? Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but for the most part, you know, let's say you're a badass lifter, or even just a fucking athlete, you know, if your actual physical performance is something you're trying to maximize, be it for like, you know, athleticism, lifting, or even just general fucking, you know, kind of health in a way. You know, I'm no health nut, but I know that taxing my internal organs with fucking, you know, nights out is not going to be cohesive with any fucking gains whatsoever. Really the actual fucking opposite. But how often are you going to be able to hear, like, dude, come on, just have one? You know, so that's my thoughts there, right? That's where you got to potentially make an executive decision and maybe pull yourself away from somebody like that. And it's hard. You know, that's pretty hard for sure. I haven't had to, I'm not particularly prone to peer pressure too much, but you know, if all your friends are dogging you, it's so easy to completely ease that tension by saying, I mean, you could go into it like, dude, I'm not drinking, bro, I gotta lift in the morning. It's gonna be absolutely so easy to say, you know, and completely ease that tension and just go, all right, give me one, give me a couple, give me a few more, wake up in the morning. Not ideal, you know, not ideal. So that's my stance there. The less you can do anything that's going to interfere with your gains, the better. And you got to be able to kind of be a little bit responsible with, you know, the people that you're hanging around, because it's not a myth. You know, this isn't just speculation. You're going to kind of match the environment that you put yourself in. So if you kind of ease up on it, odds are, or if you kind of, you know, shrink it down, make it a little bit tighter, odds are you're going to have a better time, man. You know, sure, right? The circle gets smaller, but the players get better. Right? As the circle gets smaller, the players get better. Do not fucking